Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another riveting episode of Days of Our Lives Drama Digest. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most intense and tragic arcs currently unfolding on Days of Our Lives, Philip Kiriaki's shocking descent into darkness. If you've been following the twists and turns of his story, you know that his fate is far from certain, and the next few weeks promise to be filled with tension, drama, and heartache. We'll be taking the time to reflect on Philip's journey, his increasing desperation, and the devastating consequences of his choices. If you're not ready to say goodbye to this once promising character, brace yourself, because what's coming next will leave you breathless. Philip Kiriakis, the son of the powerful Victor Kiriakis, has long been a complex character on Days of Our Lives. His charm, intelligence, and undeniable ambition have always been part of his allure. However, over the years, we've witnessed Philip struggle with personal demons, often making questionable decisions that have impacted not just his own life, but the lives of those around him. Today, we find ourselves at a crossroads in his story, a moment where the lines between right and wrong are blurred, and the consequences of his actions are about to come crashing down. Philip is about to face a tragic end, and it's going to be a painful and emotional journey for all involved. A cunning plan. Philip's scheme to steal the Versix. As viewers, we've been slowly drawn into Philip's latest scheme, which involves securing the elusive and highly coveted Versix, a miracle drug that could save the life of Bo Brady, but which is also being fought over by many of Salem's most powerful players. Philip, driven by a mix of greed and desperation, hatches a plan to steal the Versix for his own selfish purposes. His connection to the Last Blast crew, a group of friends from his past, becomes key to executing his scheme, and it's here that we begin to see the darker side of Philip's character. The plan begins innocently enough, with Philip reaching out to Kevin, someone he believes can help him secure the Versix. Kevin, it turns out, has been working closely with Dr. Jeffrey Russell on a medical research project and has access to the hospital lab where the precious vials of the drug are stored. It's a perfect setup for Philip, who sees an opportunity to use Kevin's connections to get his hands on the Versix without the need for a more dangerous heist. But as always in Salem, things are rarely as straightforward as they seem. As Philip's plan progresses, we begin to see the true depth of his desperation. While the Versix is meant to help save lives, Philip's intentions are far from noble. Instead of using it to save a loved one or for a greater good, he seeks to steal the drug out of sheer greed. He believes that possessing the Versix will give him the power and control he's always craved. But little does he know, the timing of his plan could not be worse. The tragic timing. No more doses left while Philip orchestrates his scheme. There are others in Salem, Steve and Sean, who are also desperate to obtain the Versix, but for an entirely different reason, to save Bo Brady. The two men, ever the loyal friends and family members, are willing to go to any lengths to ensure Bo survives the deadly illness that's slowly consuming him. Their own attempts to break into the lab and steal the Versix are part of their larger mission to save a man they love deeply. But as fate would have it, Philip's plot to steal the drug collides with their own desperate mission. In a cruel twist of fate, by the time Steve and Sean make their move to break into the lab, there will be no more doses of the drug left to steal. All of the Versix vials will have been taken, and the timing could not be more disastrous. Philip's greed has sealed the fate of his own plan, and by the time Steve and Sean discover what's happened, they will be left with nothing but heartbreak and frustration. The lab, once a place of hope, will become the site of a devastating realization. Bo's life-saving drug is gone, and there's no way to retrieve it. This sequence of events sets the stage for a catastrophic series of decisions that will not only impact Bo, but also bring about the eventual downfall of Philip. The repercussions of his actions are beginning to take shape, and as we'll soon see, the consequences will be dire. A shocking betrayal. Philip's role in Beau's fate as the drama unfolds. One of the most gut-wrenching moments will be Philip's choice to withhold the Versix from Beau. While his original plan was to steal the drug for his own gain, the true depths of his moral corruption will be revealed when he faces Beau and decides not to save him. This decision, made out of greed and selfishness, will not only seal Beau's fate, but will also lead to Philip's eventual downfall. Philip, who has always struggled with his identity and his sense of self-worth, will come to realize the full extent of his mistake. In a moment of cold-hearted calculation, he will turn his back on Beau, ensuring that the one thing that could save him, an act of selflessness, is kept out of his reach. The choice will haunt Philip, and the weight of it will slowly crush him as the days go by. For a man like Philip, who has always been able to rely on his wit and charm, this act of betrayal will mark the beginning of his spiral into darkness. The terrible consequences. Philip's downward spiral. As the story progresses, Philip's world begins to unravel. The greed-driven decisions he made will come back to haunt him in ways he never anticipated. The consequences of withholding the drug will lead to a series of tragic events that will leave Philip in a state of complete despair. Soon after his decision to betray Beau, Philip's health takes a sharp decline. What began as a moral crisis transforms into a physical one. Stricken by guilt and the crushing weight of his actions, Philip succumbs to a sudden and severe breakdown. His body, weakened by stress and self-loathing, begins to fail him. What follows is a heartbreaking sequence where Philip, once a strong and confident man, is forced to confront his own mortality. Philip's decline is rapid and devastating. He ends up in the hospital, his condition growing worse by the day. His once powerful frame now lies fragile and weak, a shadow of the man he used to be. The doctors and nurses working to save him can do little more than try to stabilize him as the damage done to his body becomes too great to repair. The emotional toll of his choices, his betrayal of Beau, and the impact on his own soul has left Philip physically and mentally broken. The end of the line. Philip's last days. As Philip's condition worsens, it becomes clear that his days are numbered. The man who once seemed invincible, the cunning and ambitious heir to the Kyriakis' fortune, is now at the mercy of his own body. His suffering, both physical and emotional, will serve as a tragic reminder of the dangers of greed and selfishness. But even as his life slips away, Philip's story is not finished. His death, while inevitable, will leave a lasting impact on everyone who knew him. His family, particularly his father Victor, will struggle with the realization that the son they once believed had so much potential has ultimately fallen victim to his own flaws. And for Beau, the betrayal of not receiving the Versix will haunt him for the rest of his days. In these final moments, the tragedy of Philip Kyriakis will not be lost on those around him. His story is one of lost potential, unfulfilled dreams, and the destructive power of greed. It is a story that will leave a lasting impression on the residents of Salem, and one that will serve as a cautionary tale for the next generation. Conclusion. The legacy of Philip Kyriakis. As we near the end of Philip's journey, it's clear that his story will leave a mark on Salem. From the cunning plan to steal the Versix to his heartbreaking betrayal of Beau, Philip's arc is one of tragedy and loss. His descent from ambition and success to despair and failure is a painful reminder of the dangers of unchecked greed and the consequences of putting one's own desires above the needs of others. In the end, Philip Kyriakis will be remembered not just for his actions, but for the profound impact those actions had on the people around him. His choices will resonate throughout Salem, shaping the lives of those who loved him and those who were betrayed by him. And though his time on Days of Our Lives is coming to an end, The legacy of Philip Kyriakis will remain a powerful force in the world of Salem, serving as a reminder of the cost of ambition, betrayal, and lost opportunities. Stay tuned, because Days of Our Lives is never without surprises, and as Philip's story draws to a close, we can only wait to see how the echoes of his choices will shape the future of Salem. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.